Hey, what's going on, guys? Mcskillet here with another CSGO video, and today we're doing the ultimate top 10 most expensive CSGO skins video. I did a ton of research for this video. I consulted with all the biggest collectors and traders and got all their lists, and I put together my own hybrid list on kind of what all made the most sense, even though most of the information was pretty much the same. So I was able to put together the most accurate top 10 I could for this, and I really want to get this video right, because I've done some videos on this, but the last video I made on the top 10 most expensive skins was over a year ago, and everything's changed so much. Like, a lot of CSGO skins are worth so much more than they used to be, so I really needed to make an updated video on this, and my first ever video on my channel was on the top 10 most expensive CSGO skins, so I wanted to get this video right, so I tried to make the absolute best video I could, and you probably won't find any videos on YouTube that are as close of an accurate representation of the top 10 most expensive skins as this video, so let's get into number 10. So starting off, we have the Souvenir Factory new Dragon Lore with the JW sticker, and number 10, we're already starting off at $20,000. This Souvenir Dragon Lore used to be worth even more, but there's been a bunch of other Souvenir Factory new lures unboxed, so this one's not really worth as much as it used to be, but still, it was sold for $20,000 because it's Souvenir and Factory new with the JW sticker. Now at number 9, now this item, it was really hard to get a price on. This price is kind of just an estimation. This was originally sold for around $10,000, but it was sold ages ago to one collector who never resells any of his items, of course. And this is the best StatTrak Karambit Blue Gem for CSGO. This was originally owned by Hiko. It's just a legendary item, and with the case hardened market, after it blew up, this is probably worth an absolute fortune. So I wasn't sure on the exact price, but probably over like $22,000, put it at number 9 on the list. So at number 8, we have the factory new AK-47 case hardened that has the number 1 pattern, and this one in particular has the number 1 float, and it was sold for $25,000, this specific one right here. It also has 2 of the Titan Holos on it. The number 1 float one's like a .02, so it's a really nice and clean blue. And some Chinese guy actually paid $25K for this, so pretty insane purchase. There's no StatTrak version of this. If there's a StatTrak version of this, probably go for an absolute fortune. I can't even really imagine what the StatTrak version would go for, but even this was just sold for $25,000, so insane. Now next up at number 7, we've got the StatTrak M4A4 Howl that has the number 1 float. I believe the number 1 float version of this alone is like $20,000. And then the combination of that with the 4 Ibuypower stickers on it should make it at least $25,000, I believe. I do think this is probably worth a little bit more than the number 1 AK, so I put it at $26,000, so it's number 7 on the list. And yeah, I could definitely sell for around $26,000 or maybe a little bit less, but still just one of the absolute most expensive skins. Number 1 float, StatTrak, and with 4 of the Ibuypower Holos. Pretty damn insane. So at number 6, we have the StatTrak Factory new bayonet Crimson Web, and there's only been 2 of these ever unboxed, which is pretty crazy, because for the Karambit and the M9 and pretty much all the other knives, there's been much more than 2 of them unboxed, even including ones that aren't duped. But of course, there's only 2 of these that have ever been unboxed, and no duplicates as well. The last one was sold for $28,000, but the guy on the losing side of the bidding war for this is apparently ready to pay $35,000 for the next one that's unboxed. So I'm going to put this over $30,000. I'm not sure if it's actually going to get up to $35,000. Not sure if other people are still interested in one, but there's people that are willing to pay an absolute ton for this knife. So I'm just going to put it at over $30K for a StatTrak Factory new bayonet Crimson Web. It's probably going to be ages before another one of these is unboxed. If one ever does get unboxed, it's going to take a while because of how rare this is. So at number 5, we have the StatTrak 7 case hardened minimal wear with the number 1 pattern. Of course, I showed the non-StatTrak Factory new version earlier, but there's actually a StatTrak minimal wear version and the one with the number 1 float that also has 4 Titan Holos. This one in particular was sold for $35,000 recently. I actually talked to the buyer about it, and I'm not sure if he's going to be able to sell it for more than $35K soon, but he probably won't take anything less than that, knowing the guy. And yeah, this is just an absolutely insane skin. I don't really know if it's worth putting 4 of the Titan Holos. I think it would look better with only 2 of them. The extra 2 on the top of it is a little excessive, but still pretty insane skin. $35,000 right here. So at number 4, we have the Souvenir off Dragon Lore Factory new, the Fallen sticker one with the number 1 float. just a legendary skin right here. It also has the phase sticker, so that's pretty cool as well. I think there's only like 2 Souvenir Dragon Lores with a phase sticker, but that Fallen sticker, and this being the #1 float by a really good margin, it's got like a 0.01 on it, so really clean Dragon Lore. It was sold for $37,000. I feel like it might even be able to sell for more than that, although the Dragon Lores are starting to go down in value a little bit for the Souvenir Factory new ones, because there's been a lot of them unboxed not recently, but in the last major, I think there was like 3 of them at least unboxed, and there was another 0.02 one. But this is still the absolute best Dragon Lore, and there's very few of the Souvenir Factory new Dragon Lores that actually have Opera stickers, so that's why this one's worth so much. It's got the Fallen sticker. Really nice op right here. So that's number 4. Now at number 3, we have the non-duped StatTrak M9 Crimson Web Factory New. Now there's a really huge difference in the pricing between a duped one and a non-duped, because there's a ton of duplicates of one of the worst float ones, and I believe those are selling for like less than $10,000. But a version like this there's only 2 of them. There's only 2 of the clean non-duped ones, I believe. Actually, I think there's 3 non-dupes, but the 2 that would probably sell for around this price are the ones with the cleaner floats, and they both have really nice webbing as well. This one right here has really nice webbing. There's another one with a really nice webbing as well, and both of these could probably go for over $45,000, but they won't ever be for sale because they're kind of held in a monopoly, but it's one collector. So yeah, you won't ever be able to get your hands on one of these, but I believe the actual value of these right now is probably around $45,000, even though they're not going to be for sale. Alright, so at number 2, we've got a specific StatTrak Factory New Crimson Web. Even some of the non-duped ones are not worth nearly as much as this, and a duped one is worth nowhere close to $50,000. But the specific one that's owned by Gorer, who is the guy that had the Burning Team Captain from TF2, he traded that and got this a while ago, and he was actually offered $50,000 for this one in particular, because it has a centered web. It's pretty clean as well, but that web, it just makes it worth so much, because most of the other Crimson Webs don't have nearly as nice webbing as this one right here, just making an absolutely legendary item. I was also pretty lucky to get footage of this, and I have to give a pretty big shout out to Gorer, because he did send me the inspect link, even though his inventory is completely private, so I was able to get that kind of exclusive footage of it right there for you guys. Just a really sweet knife. Now at number 1, we have nothing other than the #1 float Factory New Karambit Case Hardened that also has the #1 pattern for the play side. Now, I know some of you guys always say that the hiko knife is better than this one, and I know it kind of looks like that when you're inspecting it, but the hiko knife actually has a ton of gold on the tip of it, making it not nearly as nice as this one. This one doesn't have any gold at all in the entire play side, so I will actually admit this is a much better knife in game than the hiko knife. The hiko knife does get boring after a while, and that's why some of the lower conditions or the non-StatTrak versions have actually been sold a ton, because people get tired of them. But this knife is rarely ever traded. It's only been traded a few times. Now this item was purchased by D-Nice, and D-Nice is a trader who's basically caused the entire CSGO high tier market to be worth a lot more than it used to, because he's bought a lot of the most legendary items that weren't really for sale, and he's also applied tons of Ibuypower and Titan Holos. He crafted, I believe he's actually crafted 2 of the StatTrak Factory New M4A4 Howls with the 4 Ibuypower Holos like you saw in the start. He's done some pretty crazy shit, but he bought this knife, which wasn't for sale, because he just kept offering the guy. He offered him $50,000, I believe. It actually might have been $55,000. And the guy wasn't looking to sell it, but at that price he finally decided to sell it. But then the next day, D-Nice was actually offered $130,000 in items, is what D-Nice actually told me about the pricing, which I didn't know until now, but it was around $130,000 that Newbridge paid with his entire inventory to purchase this knife. I'm not entirely sure why he paid that much for it, because it was bought for so much less before, but I don't think Newbridge is looking to sell this for under 100k. I think he was trying to say he got offers at like 150k. I'm not entirely sure on that though, but either way, as you can tell, an insane knife, and definitely the most valuable item for CSGO, and it's the only skin to ever be bought for over $100,000, which is still pretty crazy. But that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm Mcskillet, and I'm out before the 10-minute mark.